Very good evening, members. I, CA Nidhi Singh, Secretary of Center for Audit Quality, welcome you all to today's webinar on AQMM version 2, an overview of changes. We have recently brought out this version 2 of the AQMM Model 2. So the webinar today is about the changes made therein. Speakers today for the session are our respective President ICI, CA Ranjit Agarwal ji, and Vice President ICI, CA Charanjot Singh Nanda ji, who will join us shortly. Currently, we have our convener, CA Vishal Doshi ji, and Deputy Convener, CA Pramod Jain ji. So, Vishal sir, now over to you.
Thank you very much, and a very, very good evening to all our participants. As has been mentioned, so we are waiting for our Honorable President ICI and the Honorable Vice President ICI to join us shortly. But we would start this webinar. It's more of an outreach. It's more of sharing the details about what the changes have been proposed in the AQMM version 2.0. And friends, we have come out with the public comments, or I would say the exposure draft of the version 2.0, which has been posted on the ICI website. And the last date of comments is 2nd of August. So friends, as we are all aware, the AQMM has been made mandatory with effect from 1st of April 2023 for auditors of certain categories of entities, like those who are auditors of listed companies, those who are auditors of the banks other than the branches, and those who are auditors of the insurance companies. So to take us further on the importance of the AQMM and what the audit firms or practitioners in rendering audit services should look forward for the AQMM, I would request our deputy convener and my very dear friend, a learned friend, who is very popular on the knowledge sharing initiatives that he takes, say Pramod Jain ji, and I'm privileged to have him as my deputy convener. So Pramod bhai, over to you, where you can guide the members about the AQMM and the importance and the future, what lies in store for them. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, CA Vishal Doshi ji. A very dear friend, the convener of the CAQ, and of course, chairman of FRRB, and vice chairman of the Audit and Assurance Standard Board, and so many committees. I'm right now forgetting so many committees. He is chair and vice chair, but of course, we are waiting for our honorable president and vice president, friends. It's great that our vice president has just joined. I welcome our honorable vice president, CA Charanjot Singh Nanda ji. So I'll request now, before I say something, I'll request our honorable vice president, CA Charanjot Singh Nanda ji, to please share his words of wisdom on this audit quality maturity model, the version 2, which is in the proposal to be launched.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I can see CA Vishal Doshi, CA Pramod Jain, my very esteemed colleagues in the council, Madam Nidhi Singh, the secretary to the board. So I am truly enlightened to welcome the member in today's webinar organized by the Center for Audit Quality Directorate. You are aware that the Council of the ICI has established the Center for Audit Quality Directorate in 2020, primarily focusing on the qualitative aspects of the audit function and audit quality. It serves as a special purpose directorate, ensuring consistent improvement in audit quality and bolstering Indian firms' global standing, which is one of the concerns as raised by the Honorable Prime Minister of India. The establishment of the CAQ Directorate is an initiative that underscores a fostering culture of continuous improvement and accountability within the accounting profession. Through strategic collaboration, research and education, the ICI, through CAQ Directorate, contributes to the ongoing development of the audit professionals, thereby reinforcing the crucial role of auditors in maintaining the integrity of financial statements. Audit quality is vital for an audit firm's success, ensuring accurate and reliable financial statements. It builds trust within stakeholders, ensures regulatory compliance, and mitigates risk, which is again a very important facet in the concerns which need to go as going concern. High quality audit enables the firm's reputation, attracts and retains clients, and supports long-term growth and financial performance. The audit quality maturity model is a capacity building measure initiated by ICI, and the objective of this evaluation matrix is to provide an opportunity to the audit firms to self-evaluate their current level of audit maturity, identify areas where competencies are good or lacking, and then develop a roadmap for upgrading to a higher level of maturity. To conclude, the Center for Audit Quality has released version 2.0 of Audit Quality Maturity Model for professional accounting firms, where both Mr. Vishal Doshi and Pramod Jain have played a key role in ensuring a world-class document which enhances and builds upon the framework of AQMM version 1.0. There are 3 sections in version 2.0 comprising of practice management operations, human resource management, and third and important is digital competency for assessing the level of firm on parameters of audit competency. I hope that after viewing the webcast, the participants would be able to understand the changes and offer their comments on AQMM versus 2.0 in the link of Google Form, which is mentioned in the announcement dated 12th July 2024, which is hosted on the ICI website. So I congratulate Shri Vishal Doshi, the convener, and Pramod Jainji, the deputy convener, for organizing this webinar to acquaint the members with the proposed changes in AQM version 2.0. And to end, a couplet which says, "Gar khairat mein milti kamyabi to har shakhs kamyab hota. Gar khairat mein milti kamyabi to har shakhs kamyab hota. फिर कदर ना होती किसी भी हुनर की और ना ही कोई लाजवाब होता." So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be astounding, if you want to be out of the box, if you want to be termed as magnificent, your quality has to be at the highest level, a pinnacle of success for not only you or your clients or stakeholders, but for regulators and government as well. I wish this webinar a great success and wish all the participants to go home enlightened, putting at rest all the doubts they might have arisen. I wish to thank Vishal Bhai and Pramod Bhai for inviting me for this nice webinar. My best wishes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Vice President, sir. You mentioned one very important phrase, that audit quality is vital for an audit firm. I believe this captures or encapsulates the whole thought behind its audit quality, the audit practice, and the audit quality maturity model. Sir, your words of wisdom would definitely go a long way in enlightening our members and also I would say highlighting the seriousness of the AQMM and how they can rise in the matrix of rating themselves higher in the AQMM, and thereby ensuring that their audit firm or their practice gets benchmarked with the best of the firms, not just in India, but also globally. So thank you, sir. Thanks for your valuable time and your words of wisdom. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, Pramod bhai, over to you, sir, to take it forward.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Vice President, sir. Friends, when we talk about audit, I would say a chartered accountant practice is virtually known as synonymous with the audit, accounting and audit. The thought process which various regulators have is that chartered accountant, when he conducts an audit, they have a belief that when he has conducted the audit and given his opinion on those financial statements, and when the auditors say that the financial statements are true and fair, they are true and fair. So, lot of emphasis is given on the audits, because financial statements, if I talk about whether they are true and fair or not, ultimately the final opinion is given by the auditors. So if I talk about audit, how the audit is being done by we chartered accountants in practice is by following various standards on auditing and related engagement standards. There has been a focus throughout the years to always keep on enhancing the audit quality, keeping that in view, to have enhanced audit quality, maintaining it and enhancing it. Your own Institute of Chartered Accountants in India established the Center for Audit Quality in the year 2020, as our Honorable Vice President also said. And then lot of working has been done by the Center for Audit Quality over the past 3 years. Now this is the 4th year. So one of the things which has been brought in by the CAQ is the audit quality maturity model. It started basically where the firms were allowed that they can use this model, maturity model, and evaluate their audit process, that how good they are. And when we normally say that they use those audit quality maturity model, which we say AQMM, which we now say the older one with the version 1.0, that they evaluated themselves, put the marks, put the points, and then out of 600 marks, how much marks they got. So the criteria was given 25%, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 and above. And then evaluation was done level 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 is the highest one. Unlike what we say here come first. Here, when you say I have come at level 4, then it is the highest, highest pedestal. Now, slowly and gradually, where we wanted that this AQMM, which the firm is doing, or we say practicing units is doing, that has to be made slowly and gradually mandatory for the firms. So the first thing which was started was in 1st April 2023 onwards. All the companies, as our conveners have said, the 3 type of entities. One is the listed company. Second is the central auditors of the banks, excluding the cooperative bank, but of course including the multi-cooperative banks, the auditors of those. And third, the auditors of what it was, Vishal Bhai? The third one was is our insurance companies. Insurance companies, the central auditors. So if a firm is auditing any of these 3, so with effect from 1st April 2023, they have to ensure that they get their firm evaluated on the AQMM version 1.0. And anytime with effect from 1st April 2023, their peer review is done. Then the peer reviewer would evaluate also. And when the peer review certificate is issued, what is their level, that is stated on the portal of ICI. When you see the list of firms which have got peer reviewed, you see there a column, the AQMM. You see various firms who have got their evaluated after 1st April 2023, and they are falling in into these categories of doing the audit of these listed insurance and the banks. Their AQMM level is there. You will see it 1, 2, 3, 4. So a person who wants to get his entities audit done, and he wants to ensure that, okay, I have a firm which is having a good quality of audit procedures. It is not a particular assignment, but the overall firm's evaluation. So he can go and see there. Now, what was proposed by our convener, sir, and the whole, I would say, CAQ team, that AQMM model should be keep on improving and revising. So now, with that thought process in mind, this AQMM revision is there with the AQMM version 2.0, which would be mandatory, of course, for all peer reviews which would be done post 1st April 2025. So again, certain changes have been done in the marking. Of course, overall 600 marks would be there, but the categories now are, as our Vice President sir also said, the practice management, the operations. The second one is our human resource management. And third one is our digital competence. Of course, the percentage of marks divided 600 or in each of them has been changed. Major marks have been given to operations. Second is to our human resource, and then digital competence. But the important point which in detail our convener sir would be discussing with you, that unless you get at least 20 percentage points in each of the three categories, you will not even achieve level 1. So at least minimum 20% is to be achieved in each level. Now, friends, some of us might always be thinking that this is for the listed companies, listed company के लिए है, central auditors के लिए है, insurance की बड़ी companies के auditors के लिए, हमारे लिए नहीं. But friends, you know, one should always keep on improving, and they should evaluate themselves. They should evaluate themselves and keep on improving. Okay, when these points are there, how much marks my firm is getting. I've got my other partners, I've got my other employees, chartered accountants, or articles, or audit assistants. So in the audit, where do I stand? How should I improve? Okay, then there is a criteria. Okay, when I go into those points and they see, okay, I'm lacking this point. So why not improve? Why not improve next time? So here, friends, this version 2, the draft is there. You have got the time up to 2nd August. I know many of us would be busy up to 31st July talking about we have got ITRs to be filed. But you have got certain persons who are into audit, certain partners, certain senior managers who are chartered accountants. Put them, just see that what is being proposed, If you have any point, you say, okay, this criteria should be added or should be amended, or the percentage should be a bit different from your experience. Because when we talk about ICI, it is actually you and us, everyone together. So your views could give this version 2 AQMM more effective, because ultimately down the line, today it is only these 3 type of entities. More and more type of entities and firms would be coming into it and making them mandatory. And even if it is not mandatory, your own evaluation. Now, suppose an organization wants to appoint an auditor, and he doesn't want to go for a particular brand, but he wants to explore the others. Then he would see what is the quality of the audit firm. So from where he can see, you can say, okay, go to the peer review board website. My AQMM is evaluated there. The level is there. Level 4 is the highest. See where do I stand and compare with others. At least you can evaluate and keep on improving. So this today's virtual outreach, I would say, would really help all the members to understand, because it would be available thereafter also. And post 31st July also, you'll have 2 days. So just do try and fill in that Google form your comments, because that would help the Center for Audit Quality to evaluate your views. And that would be very helpful in further strengthening this AQM model, because we want that when in the country, the financial statements are audited only by a chartered accountant in practice. We have got the monopoly. We have to keep on improving the audit quality. I'm hoping that everyone would be having a great session and a deep vision into what is proposed in this revised model, and looking forward for your comments through that Google form. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vishal Bhai. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nirina.
Thank you, Pramod Bhai, for that overview and importance of AQMM. And friends, let me share with you what some of the important highlights that Pramod Bhai mentioned. That yes, this is what we have as a institute, as the CAQD, I would say, put up as a vision, as a ladder, especially for the audit firms, that where they get evaluated. And I always say that quality is a very relative terminology, that when we say that this is of a good quality, this is not of a good quality, each one would have their own views and own vision. And what the ICI through the CAQD has done is that to put some benchmarking, put some criteria so that all the firms are assessed on similar parameters of quality. And so that when the rating is done, the benchmarking, there is no relativity in that. It's very easy to compare one firm with the other firm. So thanks, Pramod bhai, for your inputs and guidance, I would say, which is always there in coming out with this AQMM version 2 at such a short notice. And we propose, or we hope that with the comments and feedback from everybody, we would be able to release this AQMM version 2 in August itself during our council meeting. So friends, what we will do now is that we have a very short presentation taking you through some of the, I would say, changes that have been done with respect to the AQMM version 2. And then if in case you have any questions, you can definitely put them on the chat box so that we will try to respond to them. And so if you have any confusion, there is a clarity that you would have on those particular matters. And then maybe going forward, you can submit your suggestions through the Google form so that we can, after 2nd of August, we can go through all the comments that we would have received, and basis that we can discuss about the proposed changes that can be made to the exposure draft that is there. So with that, I'll just share my screen, and we'll have the presentation. Right. So the audit quality maturity model version 2.0. So the background for the AQMM, the audit quality maturity model, is that it is a cross-functional model developed with the objective to enable firms to evaluate their current level of audit maturity, which promoted by the Vice President, sir, and we have been discussing. And the AQMM version 1.0, it is mandatory with effect from 1st of April 2023 to the firms which are auditing the following entities, which is a listed company, banks other than cooperative banks, except multi-state cooperative banks, and also firms which are conducting only branch audits are not covered. And similarly, in case of insurance companies, so where you are doing the branch audit, or I would say a divisional office audit in case of insurance companies, then AQMM is not mandatory for such firms. Subsequent to its release, the implementation guide with respect to AQMM version 1.0 was also released by the Center for Audit Quality Directorate in Feb 2022. So this is the background that we have with respect to AQMM version 1.0. Now, what was the scoring? Why we are discussing the scoring? Because we have proposed to make some major changes in the scoring pattern in version 2.0. So it is important for us to understand what was the scoring pattern with respect to version 1.0. So there were 3 sections in version 1.0 also. One was on practice management operation. Second was on human resource management. And third was practice management strategic / functional. So the total scoring was based on 600 marks, out of which 280 marks, which is approx 46.67%, was allocated to practice management operations. 240 marks, which is approx 40%, was allocated to human resource management, and 80 marks, which is 13.33%, was allocated to practice management strategic functional. So this was the breakup in the version 1.0 of the 3 sections of AQMM that was there. Now, with respect to the scoring, so what would happen is that the firm would do a self-evaluation. Against each criteria, there were certain scores that have been prescribed. And based on the performance of the firm, the scores would be given. And like I said, there would be a self-evaluation that the firms would do of their own. And the range with respect to level of firms was that from up to 25%, the firm would be considered as a level 1 firm, which would mean what it means a level 1 firm is that the firm is very nascent, it's in the initial stages, and the firm would have to take immediate steps to upgrade its competency, or otherwise it would be left lagging behind. This was the outcome if your firm was categorized as a level 1 firm. The level 2 firm would be in the range of 25 to 50% marks, and it indicated that the firm has made some progress and they will have to fine tune further to reach the next level of competency. So this was in the range of 25 to 50%. The level 3 firms, which had scored 50 to 75% in each section, indicates that a firm has made substantial progress, but still will have to fine tune further to reach to the next level of competency, which would be the highest level, which is a level 4. And for a level 4 firm, if the firm scored 75% in each section, it indicates that the firm has made significant adoption of these standards and procedures, and they should focus on optimizing it further so that within level 4, if you are in 76 or 80%, maybe you can aim for getting to the 90s or the 100% score. But now I stressed upon the words, the phrase each section. What does that mean? That means that we have 3 sections, section 1, 2, 3, and for each section, this percentage would be measured, and whichever would be the least, the level of the firm would be determined accordingly. So let us say hypothetically, if a firm has scored or has got 75% or I would say 80% in section 1, in section 2, it has scored 45%. And in section 3, it has scored 20%. So you have 80, 45, 22, which means level 1, level 4, level 4, level 2, and level 1. Now, for each of these 3 sections, the level has been determined based on the percentage scored for that level. Whichever is the least, which means level 1, because in section 3, the firm has got just 20%, which makes it level 1. The overall rating of the firm would be captured as level 1. So this was the scoring pattern under the AQMM 1.0. I hope that is very clear to all the participants, because this is an area where we have proposed a change. What are some of the major changes that are proposed in AQMM version 2.0? So one is that separate annexures for presence and implementation of various checklists, formats, templates have been now added to it, and there is a scoring that has been given to each of them. So accordingly, the clauses which are covered under checklist, format, and templates, they have been removed. So there were some clauses on version 1 where there was specific requirement of certain checklists and formats, which now we have brought in as an annexure, as a separate line item itself, detailing the various checklists and annexures that would be there. And therefore, from the earlier version, they have been removed. We now have a separate section to evaluate the digital competency of the firms, which has been introduced. So earlier they were there, but then they were built in as part of your section 1 practice management operations, and certain in section 2 with respect to HR management. But now what has been proposed is that digital has been added as a separate section by itself, and therefore the relevant clauses in each of the sections have been removed, and now everything has been concentrated as part of section 3. Some new clauses have been introduced, which we felt that as part of the audit quality or for rating of firms would be important and relevant. Some existing audit quality indicators, they have been reworded for the better understanding. Score bases and maximum scores have been revised for certain clauses. So where the marks, let us hypothetically, were 2, and the committee felt that this is important criteria, we need to increase the marks, they have been increased. In certain cases, they have been reduced also. And there were some clauses where it was difficult to objectively quantify certain things, they have been dropped. So now the AQMM version 2.0 is what we have tried to make it is more objective, where for each item it would be possible to put a score against it without bringing in any relativity or I would say any non-objective criteria. And so to that extent, this has been fine-tuned. So now what do we have? We do have the 3 sections in this. in the version 2.0, but they have been reframed. The weightages have also been changed. So we have given more weightage to section 1. Definitely section 1, practice management operation, what we had earlier as the practice management strategic functional, that has also been merged now with practice management operation, as this is the core area for determining audit quality. So out of 600, so the total score still remains 600. We have given a maximum score of 370, which is 61.67% to practice management operation. And very detailed checklists and templates and formats have been introduced where firms can score against each of the, I would say, documents that they are implementing as part of their office procedures. On the HR management, we have now 150 marks, which constitutes 25% of the overall weightage. And the section 3 on digital competency, we have 80 marks, which is 13.33%. So these are the weightages that now have been given to the 3 sections. Now, how would the scoring or the rating of the firm into level 1, 2, 3, 4 happen? So first is that we have given a minimum criteria that in each of the section, the firm has to score at least 20% to be eligible for an AQMM review, right? So we have put that threshold that in each of the section, let us say in section 1, where we have 370 as the maximum marks, 20% comes to 74 marks. In section 2, we have overall 150 marks, where minimum is 30 marks at 20%. And section 3 on digital competency, the maximum is 80 marks, where at 20% it is 16 marks, which means that if any firm, let us say on human resource management, is not able to score 30 marks, then that firm would not be eligible for an AQMM review at all. So this is a minimum criteria. It has to have at least 30 marks to be eligible for the AQMM review. So we have 20% marks in each of the sections, which a firm has to minimum achieve to get eligible for AQMM review. And thereafter, then we have the level of the firms that have been mentioned. So where we have the level 1 firm, the range is from 20% to 40%. See, below 20%, if any of the firm gets, it would not be eligible for AQMM review itself. So anybody getting from 20 to 40%, they would be a level 1 firm. 40 to 60%, it would be a level 2 firm. Level 3 is 60% to 80%, and level 4 is 80 to 100%. The narrative, the basis, or the way forward for the firms for each of the level, that remains the same, what was there in AQMM 1, but this has been changed. Another important change is that this 20%, 40%, whatever is there to determine on the level of the firm, is on an overall basis and not section-wise basis. If you remember earlier what I had mentioned, in AQMM version 1.0, we had to give the percentage for each of the levels, and based on the each of the sections, and based on the level in each of the section, whatever was the least would be the level of the firm. But now, since we have kept a minimum 20% threshold in each of the sections, and then we are saying that overall scoring or rating would be applicable. So let us say if a firm has definitely 1 scored 20% in each of the section, 2 has an overall score total of all these 3 sections coming to 300 marks out of 600, then it would be, or I would say 50%. And for a 50%, that's the overall score that the firm has got, it would become a level 2 firm, because we have the range of 40 to 60% as a level 2 firm. So this is another major change that we have brought about in the AQMM version 2.0. So friends, if you see this table, what we have tried to do is we have tried to reconcile the various clauses of version 1.0 versus the version 2.0. So if you see, we have started with AQMM version V1.0. In practice management operations, we had 31 clauses totaling to 280 marks. In 2 of the sections, there has been an upward revision in the scores. So where the total of these 2 sections was 12 marks, now they are 37 marks. So there has been an upward revision in the scores. There are 2 sections where there have been a downward revision in scores. So where from 12 marks, the total of those two sections have been brought down to 7 marks. There are 13 clauses or sections in the section 1, or I would say clauses in section 1, which have been removed because now they are forming part of the annexure. So out of 280, 76 marks go out, and we have added one new clause, which is an annexure, where we have a list of the checklists and templates which firm is expected to maintain and has maintained, and we have given 230 marks for the existence of those checklists in the firm, as well as the implementation of that checklist in that firm. Right. So we'll go through some of those details, but these are all available on the website along with the announcement. Similarly, then 3 clauses totaling 28 marks, they have been dropped from the section 1. There are 2 which have been dropped because they were difficult to quantify, that included for the negative scores. Then there are 3 clauses which have been moved to negative marking instead of positive. So they were, those total of those 3 clauses were 44. So those 44 from the positive marking, we have removed them, and those have been taken to negative marking. There are 5 new clauses of negative marking which we have added to the section 1. There is a new section 3, digital competency, which have been created. So like I said, that from section 1 and section 2, we have moved them to section 3 on the digital competency, which is now a separate standalone section. So 3 clauses totaling 72 from section 1 and 3 clauses from section 2 totaling 20, they have been moved to section 3 on digital competency. And then there have been clauses which have been moved, including negative, from the practice management strategy functional, which was there earlier, or section 3, the erstwhile section 3, I would say, that has been moved to section 1. So if you see that we have tried to reconcile the overall number of clauses and the scores with respect to each of the section through this slide. Similarly, in the section 2, on the human resource management, earlier there were 31 clauses totaling 240 marks. And there are 4 clauses where there has been an upward revision in score from 48 marks to 78 marks. There are 7 clauses where there have been downward revision in the scores totaling from 52 marks to 26 marks. There are 3 clauses on the documentation or checklist which have been moved to I would say section 1 clause, which have been covered in the annexure. These are totaling 12 marks. There were 7 clauses totaling 64 marks, which are covered already under some existing clause. So they have been dropped because there seemed to be some duplication for it. There were 16 marks from 3 clauses where it was difficult to quantify, including the negative scores. And there are 8 marks, positive marks, which have now been moved to negative marking under one of the clauses. And there is a new clause. So there are 6 new clauses on the HR totaling to 26 marks. 3 clauses have been moved to section 3 on the digital competency. So this is the reconciliation of section 2 from 31 clauses to 21 clauses, and from marks from 240 to 150. Practice management strategies functional has totally, either some of the clauses have been dropped or then they have been moved to section 1. And digital competency, a new section that has been introduced. There are total 70 clauses, small, very basic requirements that a firm should have on the technological front, and the total, which is 80 marks. So we see an overall reconciliation also, that earlier there were 76 clauses totaling to 600 marks, and now there are 118 clauses still totaling to 600 marks, but there have been movement within the clauses. So this slide gives a total reconciliation of what was there in version 2 and now what is there proposed in version 1 and what is now proposed in version 2. What are the transitional provisions with respect to AQMM? So the transitional provisions are that for peer reviews initiated on or after 1st April 2025, the review period would be from 1st April 22 till 25, 3-year period if it is a continuing firm, or if there are firms which have been constituted during this period of 22 to 25, then it would be from the date of the constitution to 31st of March 2025. So now what is being proposed is that AQMM version 2.0, it may be made applicable to the practice units which submit Form 1, because AQMM review. So like I said, the process is that AQMM first is the self-evaluation, and then when the firm undertakes or undergoes the peer review process, the peer reviewer along with the peer review would also do an AQMM review of that particular firm and would approve of the scoring or even suggest changes to the self-evaluation score that the firms have given to themselves. And for a peer review, a firm needs to submit Form 1 to start the peer review process. So the applicability of version 2.0 is proposed that all those practice units which submit Form 1 on or after 1st of April 2025 will have to score, demonstrate their score or do the self-evaluation of their score based on version from 1st April 25 on version 2.0. However, if the firm wants for a self-evaluation to early adopt version 2.0 after the same has been approved by the council, then they can be given a discretion for early adoption also. So these are the transitional provisions. So these are the related links which are there. So we have uploaded the AQMM version 2.0 as it is the version which is there, proposed version. It is available on this link. Presentation, this very presentation is also available on along with the announcement on the website about summarizing the proposed changes. We also have the comparison of AQMM version 1.0 versus version 2.0. Clause by clause comparison has also been uploaded on the portal, along with the links are also there on the announcement. The last date of comments is 2nd of August, and there is a Google form which has been uploaded, which we would request members and the practice units to please give your comments from on the Google form so that the same can be considered by the Center for Audit Quality Directorate before they are before the final AQMM version 2 is announced by the council. So that was a presentation, a short presentation giving an overview of the AQMM version 1 as well as the version 2. So, Nidhi Madam, if there are any questions, then we can take them. Otherwise, I would like to just highlight or show, take the participants through the version 2.0.
Yeah, so there are no questions till now.
So what I'll do is I'll have this quickly. I'll just yeah, so this is the version 2.0, friends. As you can see on the screen, we will definitely end at 6:30. So we have about 10 odd minutes where I'll just take you through some of the major changes that we have done to the AQMM version 2.0. So on the practice management operation, you can see the first section is practice areas of the firm. So here we have given a detailed breakup of how the scoring would be happening based on the revenue, and the criteria, the definition of revenue has also been modified than what was there in the earlier version 1.0. Vision mission statement, again there we have reduced the scoring, I believe, vision and mission, and we have combined that. On the workflow practice manuals on SQC1, again there is a detailed scoring that has been given with respect to each of the section, 6 sections of SQC1 for the presence in the manual, and also for the defined policies and procedures. Services delivery effort monitoring, again this has been broken up into various sections, and here also, friends, if you see that our budget versus actual analysis of time and effort spent carried out for assurance assignments, for which revenue from each individual assignment constitutes 2.5% or more of total revenue from assurance services. So what we have tried to do is that we have also tried to bring in the concept of, I would say, maybe indirectly materiality in that at least for those assignments which constitutes individually 2.5% or more, then whether budget versus actual analysis is done. So even for small assignments or small assurance services, if you do not have that, If it constitutes less than 2.5%, it is okay, but at least for those which are more than 2.5%, and then based on that, the scoring, the different levels of scoring have been specified. On quality control, also now we have given broken up into. So this has typically been moved, rearranged with respect to on the negative marking side. This is on the quality control, whether there are any observations on FRRB, TAQRB, the C&AG, on the NFRA, and all those. So these are with respect to more of them are on the negative marking than the positive marking, because again here what we had got as a feedback that all the firms are not selected under these categories, and therefore we move them to a negative marking criteria. Client sensitization is another area. Again, here we have detailed some of the areas of communication with those charged with governance. On the regulatory compliances, so whether the firm itself has the systems with respect to having the compliance with the code of ethics, with respect to the minimum scale of fees that are recommended by the ICI. So whether the firm follows that, so there is a scoring pattern for that. Number of UDINs generated within the stipulated time. So this is a new clause that has been added. So we have with us our honorable. So yeah, so number of UDIs generated within the specified time. Whether this is a new clause that has been added to this.
वो उनके ग्रुप में भेज देंगे.
So we welcome our respected President, sir. We also have Piyush Bhai Chajed. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Vishal Bhai. Sorry, I could not join that point of time.
We really appreciate, sir, you were still able to join. Thank you very much for that, sir. So, sir, we were just going through the changes and all that we have proposed. So, sir, over to you. So, because I would, for the audience, I would say that we are privileged to have a president who leads by example, who is visionary, and he has brought far-reaching changes to the ICI. And sir, it was under your leadership and guidance that we were able to consider this AQMM version 2.0 in the very first, I would say, sitting of the council and put up for public comments. And sir, you have given us a target that we want to launch this on 15th August at the council meeting. So sir, we are working on that under your able leadership. So over to you for your address to the participants.
No, thank you very much, Vishal Bhai, the convener of this very important Directorate Center for Audit Quality, and Pramod Jain, the Deputy Convener, Nidhi Singh, the Secretary, and all the members who have joined this webinar. It's a very important in the sense that now quality is the key constant. Everywhere we are going, they are talking about the quality, quality, and quality. And that's why this Audit Quality Maturity Model 2.0, with the more refined what we call all the indicators, audit quality indicators and others parameter which we have revised, considering how the firm can enhance their quality of the work they are doing. And let me tell you now, these things are very much required going forward, because entire focus of the government, regulator, and the ICI has now shifted to the quality and the skill development. We have made a committee aggregation of the CA firm, where we want to aggregate the firms so that they can build their capacity and deliver the quality. We have done this AI in ICI, artificial intelligence, which we have already given the tools, how you can use the technology to deliver the quality. And we have the code of ethics, which talks about documentation, proper documentation. So if a audit is not properly documented, audit is not done. This is the concept going on. If you see the parameters of the review the audit file by the various regulators, NFRA or ICA or FRRB, we have all these things. The entire focus is how to have the quality of our firms who are empowered to deliver an opinion on a true and fair of the financial statement. So that's why this initiative of the AQMM by the Vishal Bhai and Pramod ji, it's a very commendable, and they have come out with AQMM 2.0, how we can more refine version of this maturity model so that the quality of the firms can be enhanced. Recently, you might have seen the CNAG points, which last time they have revised, where the 50% focus on the strength of the firm and the 50% on the quality of the firm. What are the certificate course you have done? What is the quality of your partners? What experience you have? What kind of work you have done? So they have divided 50% on the strength and 50% on the quality. So all these changes are coming just because the government and the regulator want the chartered accountant who are the backbone of the economy, who are the driver of the growth engine of the economy. They should deliver with the best of their quality. And that's why the steps by the Center for Audit Quality is in that direction. And this AQMM 2.0, which we will launch in the August Council meeting, will go a long way to guide the firm to maintain and deliver the quality. And more so, this Center for Audit Quality is working very hard. We have now designed a new course also, which we have passed in the council and we have sent to the MCA for approval. How a chartered accountant who want to do the listed company audit, what kind of parameters the CA and the firm should have, because every chartered accountant who is a COP holder may not be to that equipped to do the listed company audit of 5,000, 10,000 crore turnover. So we have designed a residential course where SEBI LODR, accounting standards, auditing standards, various fraud done by in India, outside India, case studies of the NFRA and the disciplinary committee of ICI. What are the sustainability reporting parameters are coming going forward? What are the use of the technology? All these things we have infused in this new curriculum, a new course we have designed. So going forward, it may not be mandatory today, but going forward, if you want to do the audit of a listed company, you must have to undergo this course. That may be the prerequisite to do the audit of a listed company, like peer review. So all these things are very, very relevant, very, very important. And the India is growing. The CA firms are the driver of the growth engine of our economy, and we have to deliver with the best of our quality. So my compliment to Vishal Bhai and Pramod ji for this new AQMM 2.0, and I hope with your initiative, the firms will be get more and more benefit, and they will deliver the best of their capacity and capability. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Sir, for your kind words, and definitely on the vision that the institute and the various regulators are having with respect to the audit quality. And like you mentioned, sir, quality. I think that was the impacting phrase which summarized your whole thing, that is what everybody is looking at. So thank you for your presence and your valuable time. I know it's been a very, very hectic day for you, but we thank you for your presence and guiding our members on this new AQMM 2.0. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
So friends, continuing further with the version 2.0, finally just a couple of minutes where I would just like to share the annexure with you, which is now has been introduced as part of the AQMM version 2.0. So if you can see the screen, I have jumped straight to the annexure. So now if you see serial number 1, client acceptance, continuation, and appointment formalities present. So if you have such a format or a checklist or a template at a firm level, then the presence you will get 1 mark, and you implement it, you will get 2 additional marks for that, which totals 3 marks. Then on the engagement acceptance / continuation decision checklist, if you have it, then you have 1 mark, and for implementing it across your clients, you would have 3 marks. Independence confirmations at a personal level, at firm level, and also on with respect to non-audit services, if you have that format or a checklist as part of your office manual, as part of your procedure, as part of your process, then the presence would give you 1 mark, and to implement it, you get additional 2 marks. If you see in this manner, we have tried to cover a lot of the checklists which are there. If you look at serial number 20, substantive audit procedures adopted and performed for each item of balance sheet, operating income and expenses. You have 1 mark for presence and 10 marks for its implementation across the clients. Again, similarly, we have completeness of related party transactions and compliance, where you have 5 marks, or total, I would say 6 marks. The ICFR, you have 6 months. So a lot of these things have been introduced. Checklists for accounting standard and Ind AS for all these standards. If you have those checklists, 1 mark, and if you are able to implement that, or you are able to demonstrate that you have implemented that through your audit files, through your documentation, then you get 10 marks for that. Similarly, on the standards on audit, you have 11 marks for that. And similar, so these are the lists that we have tried to granulate the whole audit function, audit quality, audit process into smaller pieces, where firms can start adopting these measures and at the same time start building up and giving, moving up the level, or I would say the ladder of audit quality maturity. And so this 40 is what we have prescribed, and we have even given additional marks that if you as a firm or as a practice unit have any additional format checklist template, then you get 1 mark for the presence of that particular checklist and 2 marks for its implementation. So additional 10 such formats or checklists you can have as part of your audit process and practice, where you can get 30 marks, so total 215 marks are given to this. And another important 15 marks is that whether all the above checklists you or format templates are reviewed at least annually, and with each change you are able to update. So it's not that these checklists of 40, 50, whatever you have, that remains stagnant over a period of time. It is important for you to review them on an annual basis at least, to ensure that you get these additional 15 marks. So a very significant portion is on this granular detailing of the formats, checklist, templates. So you can say out of 600 marks, 230 marks, which is almost 40% of the whole AQMM, right, is on having all the presence and implementation of all these checklist documents and formats. So with this, we would like to end over here. Madam, any further questions that have come? Else we can, and yes, madam, we can take them.
No, sir, there are no questions.
Fine. Okay. So, friends, with this, we can we would end this outreach webinar. The objective of this webinar was to highlight what are the changes that have been proposed in AQMM version 2.0, and the announcement is there on the ICI portal, as well as you will find them on the CAQ page. So please do visit that, go through the AQMM version 2.0, the comparison of the version 2 with version 1, and please give your comments latest by 2nd of August 2024. So thank you for your participation and presence. I know everybody is busy in this ITR season, but for those who have joined for this hourly or I would say 1 hour session, thank you very much for your participation. Thanks to the Honorable President of ICI, the Honorable Vice President of ICI for their presence and guidance. Thanks to the Deputy Convener Pramod Bhai for his overview, and thanks to Nidhi Madam and the entire office at the CAQ for working very hard in bringing out this AQMM version 2 model, and definitely also all the members and the group members who are part of this AQMM version 2.0. Thanks to them for their input, guidance, and support. Thank you, and have a very nice evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.